Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so we're gonna try vlogging from the bedroom. I don't know how well this is gonna work. Okay, we have all the toys. I know you guys are such good boys. We have all the toys on the bed. We have their little bed up here and all the blankets and stuff like that. What is it, honey? But we're gonna try to vlog. I think they'll settle down in just a second. So let me explain why we're vlogging. Let me explain why we're vlogging from the bedroom today. Okay. So Alex got up today and he was like, I really want brunch. Do you want to go get brunch? And I said, well, I would really like to film a couple videos today. I'd like to do my vlog. And then I said, I also want to review this TV show that I watched last night, this true crime. And he was like, okay, well, do you care if I go out to brunch? And he's like, and then I got to go do some errands and stuff. He had to pick up something for his Friendsgiving tonight. And so I was like, no, not at all. Go to brunch, have fun, and I'll film while you're gone. And then my plan is to take a very, very long walk late this afternoon, early this evening. And then they like want to be on camera so much. And then I am going to read and watch TV shows and stuff. So I filmed I took them outside and I could see that like 4 houses down the street, they were blowing leaves, but I couldn't really tell like if it was just one of my neighbors blowing leaves. Isn't he so sweet? Walter, do you want to be on TV? You want to be on TV, Walter? I haven't done a vlog in the bedroom since Boo Radley was alive, I think. So this is kind of a new thing, isn't it, guys? Yeah. So anyway, I took the dogs out and I was like, I could hear that they were blowing leaves and stuff, and I saw them like 4 houses down, and I was like, I couldn't tell if it was like one of my neighbors or if it was the landscapers, but I was like, it's Saturday, so it's probably not one of the landscapers. The landscapers aren't usually out here on Saturdays. They are real curious. I have you guys set up on, here, I'll show you guys. Oh! I'll show you, I have the setup that I have. You guys are actually on this like, oh, now Otis is laying down. You guys are on this like footstool thing right here, so they're real curious to see. Okay, so then I took them back. So then I came upstairs and I filmed my TV review of this documentary that I watched last night. They'll settle down in just a second. Called The Carmen Family Deaths. I did the review, sat in here. It took me like 20, 25 minutes to do that review. And then when I got done, I took them out again. Walter, what is that? Is that a camera, sweetie? Are you so curious? He said, Dad, what is that thing that you're talking to? He's sniffing all around it. Yeah, that's called a camera, buddy. You want your can of soup? This is their can of soup they got from their box. You want your can of soup, honey? What do you think, Otis? What do you think about the world? So anyway, after I got done with that, we're having a parade. Today's a parade, the vlog parade. Hold on, I gotta situate this so it's a little bit more even. Okay. This is just the beginning of it. Once they get settled down and stuff, this will be more of like a regular vlog. I know some of you out there are loving this and some of you it's driving crazy. He is now standing on the thing. You're so curious, aren't you, buddy? I know, I know. Yes, you're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. You said, Daddy, what are we doing up here? They love, I don't know why every dog we have ever had in this house has always loved being in the bedroom, but they love being in the bedroom. Here, do you want your soup? You want your can of soup? Take your soup and go over to your bed there. The little bed is right here. Oh, he did go over to his little bed. Look. See? Aww. You gonna go hang out with your brother? Huh? Oh, he's done with the soup. Okay. So anyway, after I got done filming the video, I went outside and I saw that they had brought the trucks further down the street. And so the landscapers are like apparently out here on a Saturday. I don't know if they got complaints or something. A lot of people in the neighborhood are like, when are they coming to do the leaves? When are they coming to do the leaves? Which is interesting because our yard is like one of the only yards that has a lot of leaves in it. And every time I take them out, like especially this little one right here, Otis, he loves to poop in the leaves. And so then I have my flashlight out at night and I'm like looking with like this flashlight for the poop in the leaves. Thank God I find it most times. So anyway, it's going to make it a lot easier for us, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to make it so, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to poop. He said, but Dad, I like pooping in the leaves. So anyway, my plan of going outside and vlogging early and being done by like, it's right now, let's see what time it is. Let's do a little time check, shall we? Right now it is 2:12 p.m. So my plan of being done by like 3 o'clock with my whole day of filming and then going on my walk early and stuff like that, because then Alex is coming home from brunch. He's going to pick up a chocolate cake, I guess, for this Friendsgiving thing. I think he's going to like Taylor's Bakery or something for that. And then he's going to pick that up and he's going to be home after brunch and stuff. So then I was like, okay, well, like he can hang out with the dogs and stuff while I go on my walk. And then when I get back from my walk, then he'll be leaving for his Friendsgiving thing. And so I was like, this will work out perfectly. But I was like, it's so loud outside. I don't know if you can, like that's in the bedroom. So like imagine sitting on the front porch. It's like super, super loud. So I was like, okay, well, I was like, then I'm just going to go upstairs to the bedroom. One of my favorite things in the last week was when they came and they were doing the patio door, and that afternoon, I was like laying in bed listening to my audiobook, and then I read my Kindle. I don't know what has changed in the last week, but I have become a laying in bed reading my Kindle. I love just laying in bed and reading my Kindle. What are we doing? You gonna show everybody what you guys do all day long? This like play biting thing? We could take naps. One of the reasons why I was real hesitant about this is because when I would do it with like Boo Radley, you know, Boo Radley would just like sleep the whole... Are you guys talking to each other? You want to see Michael Myers? There's Michael Myers. Go take him and have fun. That'll last literally probably 1, 2. We're done with Michael Myers. The toys don't last a long time. They get real bored. You get real bored of the toys, don't you? Yeah. Like Boo Radley would just lay in his bed while I vlogged, and it was real easy. But I knew that these guys, you're probably not ready for nap shut, are you? No, you're not ready for nap shut. Oh, do you have LaDonna? You want to show them LaDonna? This is their absolute favorite. This is little LaDonna. They love her. Otis just lays on his back, and he's learned how to squeaker. Oh, little Otis still hasn't found his bark yet. You haven't found your bark yet, have you? No. But who has found his bark? Walter. Last night at about 3 o'clock in the morning, Walter saw like something in the street. He kind of scared me at first too, because I was like, what does he see? And all of a sudden he's like, arr, arr. Is Daddy being funny? Okay. All right, you guys. Okay. Look, there's little LaDonna. Yeah, there she is. Go play with her for a little bit. Okay. Look, your brother got little LaDonna. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to read for a little bit. Well, I was sitting up here reading, and I like looked out the window. Come over here. Come on. Come over here. I was looking out the window, and I was like, it's going to take them forever until they are further down the street. And they were like across the street from me. They haven't even done our yard yet. So I was like, this is... I knew they were going to be kind of crazy, but I didn't think it would be like this. Go play. Go play with your brother. You can go play with him. I know you want to hang out with me. Look at Otis's little sit. Isn't he so cute? Is that the neighbor dog? Is that the neighbor dog? This is kind of our day, isn't it? This is what we do all day long. Otis is like, are we supposed to sleep? Okay, so anyway. So I came up here and I laid down to read, and I was like, okay, let's see if this will work. I was like, maybe I should just vlog right now from the bedroom. I was like, you know, I haven't vlogged from... There was one day last week that I was going to vlog from the bedroom, and they were like running around and stuff like that. I was like, this is never going to work. But when I was uploading my TV video, I was like, they were like settling down a little bit. And so I thought, well, maybe if I take them upstairs now and I like read for a little bit, then they'll like settle down a little bit, and then I can vlog from the bedroom. So I think they're starting to settle down a little bit. They love each other so much. Look at this. You guys love each other so much. Are you best of friends? Best of friends, best friends and brothers, best friends and brothers, best friends and brothers. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I love you. You're such a good boy. Yes, you are. I know, Walter. I know. Walter definitely needs like 100 times more attention than Otis. Otis is like, I think I'm ready for a nap. Your brother Otis takes a lot of naps, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. So, let's talk about, once they start settling down, they're starting to settle down. Once they like go to sleep or whatever, we'll have a very deep conversation. By the way, I want to say like yesterday, somebody left a comment on my vlog. I'm going to read some comments here in a second. So if I get to it, I'll read it. But somebody said that they always like my vlog, which thank you. I appreciate that. But they said recently, like the conversations you've had on here have like been really reflective and deep and things like that. That meant a lot to me. I just want to say, I really, really appreciate that. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, maybe last week sometime. I got a comment a couple weeks ago. I didn't take it negatively at all. I never did. Like, when people give me like, I like this or I like that, like I want to make videos that you guys enjoy and that you guys like. You know, like if somebody said, well, not if just one person, but if enough people said, Peter, like, it's so distracting to have the dogs in the bedroom. Like, I'm not going to do this every day. Obviously, I know it's kind of distracting, right? But like, what are we doing? Huh? It's not like I'm going to do this on a regular basis, though, either, you know? Like, I'm kind of doing this out of necessity today. Plus, I know that there's always people that are like, where are the dogs? We want to see the dogs. So I thought to do a vlog with the dogs in the background would be kind of cute. And for me, it's like to have it, you know, memory of them when they were, like, younger and all that kind of stuff. So it is hot in here. I have these sweatpants pulled all the way up on my... Well, hello. He's so sweet. Anyway, but somebody a couple weeks ago, I talked about it on here actually, left a comment and they said something to the effect of that they had watched my vlog for a long time and that back in the day, my vlogs were like very stream of consciousness and very reflective and that I would talk about like deeper issues and stuff like that. And he is real curious about this camera. You don't get it, do you, buddy? And that they were like, and lately all you do is basically, like they didn't use this word, but this is the word that I use, is like, he's trying to get around this thing. Well, I have like my phone and my glasses and my stuff down there, so he's looking at what that is. But anyway, they were like, you know, lately it's just been kind of like press conferences. Like, you're just talking about like what shows you watch, what books you read, and all that kind of stuff. And when I mentioned that in the video, I got a lot of like mixed comments about that. Like, oh my Lord, what was that? Are we going to get to hear Walter's bark? Are we going to hear your bark, Walter? They just do this kind of like... Walter's not really sure of his bark yet, and Otis hasn't found his bark. But anyway, a lot of people were like, oh, I'll watch anything that you post, which I appreciate that. You know, like, I know some of my vlogs are really, really boring. But other people were like, oh, I like when you talk about, like, if I don't talk about, like I said this day, if I stop talking about books over here, then people will be like, I miss you talking about books. If I stop talking about TV shows, then people will say, I miss you talking about TV shows. If I talk about TV shows over here, people will say, don't you have a TV channel for that? You know what I mean? Don't you have a movie channel for that? And I do kind of feel like that. I do kind of feel like I repeat myself on several channels, you know what I mean? Like, because I like every channel I kind of just talk about what's going on in my day a little bit, but I mean, they're different and they're specific for whatever I'm talking about over there. But anyway, but there were quite a few people that were like, I love the reflective vlogs. I love when like you think back on things that you've learned on and whatever. And so getting that comment a couple weeks ago, I think really made me think about like the purpose of my vlog and when the vlog has been the most helpful and cathartic for me. And that has been, like, yesterday's vlog was so good for me because it reminded me of this period of my life when, like I said yesterday, it was interesting because when I got done with the vlog, I was like, there was probably a better way for me to have verbalized all that. You know, I think that if you've watched me for a long time, you realize that I'm just kind of like stream of consciously talking. It's not like I'm thinking through every thought that I say before it comes out of my mouth, right? And so when I got done, I was like, I think there might have been a better way for me to verbalize that. That period of my life was a very difficult period of my life because, like, Alex and I were not good. We just were starting to work through things. It was a period of my life where I wasn't sure if we were going to make it or not. I wasn't emotionally happy. And I was about, I mean, I was just a couple years back into coming back into meetings and stuff like that. You know, my sponsor was suggesting to me to, like, go to completely different meetings and meet new people, which I'm so thankful that he said that to me because that was really me getting outside of myself and going to a lot of meetings in Indianapolis. That was a period in my life where I met a lot of people that I did not know because I was staying kind of sheltered in one area and going to a lot of meetings in one area. And so like everybody that I knew was basically on the north side of Indianapolis. And so then I started going to the east side of Indianapolis a lot, and I started going to a lot of meetings in central Indianapolis. And so I started meeting a lot of people. That was really, really good for me. I mean, that was probably one of the best pieces of advice that my sponsor ever gave me was get out of yourself, you know, and you know, make yourself uncomfortable and go meet some other people. And I'm really thankful for that. But like emotionally, I was very sad most days. I didn't have a lot of motivation. I mean, in retrospect, right? Like they say, hindsight's 20/20. In retrospect, I'm not a believer that things happen like, you know, that, I don't know. I think that it's like things happen and then we take lessons from them. But I think in retrospect, like I had to go through that period of life to get to where I'm at today. But I'm so thankful, like, I just was so sad every single day, and I just was lacking a lot of motivation, and I had really defined myself, and I think I was recognizing it for the first time in my life. I had really defined myself, even since my sobriety, by the relationships that I was in. I was in my third long-term relationship, Alex. The previous one that I was in, you know, we parted amicably, but it didn't work. The first one that I was in didn't work, but we were young, so it was a different kind of relationship. Alex just texted me. What did he say? He said, how's it going, babe? Hold on a second. And so I'm like on my third relationship, and I'm like questioning. Hold on a second. He's texting me something else. Put vlogging in the bedroom. I'm gonna take a picture. Why is my camera not coming on? But, you know, I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to be in a relationship. You know, I'd had this conversation with my mom years before, sitting down there in the living room, and it was like we were watching, I think I've shared the story a lot. Hold on a second, he's texting me. It's like a long text. Okay, babe, have fun. They're finishing up brunch. He's not going to Taylor's. He's going to Costco to pick up a cake for tonight, and then he'll be home. Oh, he just sent me a picture. Hold on. Oh, look at my cute husband. He said cutie to me. That picture of me was not good. Here, hold on a second. He said cutie. I'm going to say you are. You are, though. We're like Robin and Cody Brown. We just flirt all the time. Look, Otis is awake now. He's like, what's going on? I remember sitting with my mom talking, and we were like watching Jerry Springer or something. It was so bizarre, like in retrospect. And it was like this woman that had like these two men fighting over her or something like that. And I was like between relationships. It was after I got sober, I think. I think it was between my first and second boyfriend after I got sober. I mean, I had a lot of relationships before I got sober. When I talk about my 3 relationships, those are the relationships I had since I got sober, like my long-term relationships. I had other relationships before that. I had other meaningful relationships before that. None of them were that long, you know, like the first guy I dated when I came out, like he and I were off and on for probably 2 years. He lives in Australia now, which is crazy to me. And I think he's been with his husband for like, I don't know, 20 years or something like that. I mean, it's been, I bounced the edge of the bed, bounced. I like hit the end of the bed and this thing like rocked back. So I had to like move this whole thing. So I hope that it's steady now. Anyway, I think I've got it like situated. I don't ever like, usually when I vlog up here, or when I vlogged in the past, it feels lower. What's different about this? Something feels different about this. Because usually when I vlog, I just put it on. So we have this like bench thing here that then opens up. I usually just put it on the bench. But today I was like, I went on this solid surface, but this solid surface is like very narrow. And so this was, the edge of it was like up against the bed, and then it like, anyway. What was I talking about? Oh, he just texted me back. What did he say? He said, you are. Yeah, my first boyfriend and I, we went back and forth for like 2 years. I think we dated for like 6 months, and then we would break up. His best friend was my friend that took his life. And so, like, the three of us would hang out, stuff like that. We had some other friends. So we were always around each other. And so we'd, like, get back together for a week or two. I don't know. I was so young. I mean, that was like 18 to 20. And I dated other guys during that period too. You know, it wasn't like he and I were just off and on, just the two of us. He dated other guys, I dated other guys. Then he went to London for like a year. And then he came back. I don't know when he moved to Australia. Honest to God, I have not talked to him in so long. I bet the last time I talked to him was... Well, you know what? I bet the last time I talked to him was our friend's funeral. And that's where I made amends to him. I don't know if I've shared that story on here before or not. But I made amends to him at our friend's funeral. And I think that's the last time I talked to him, which I probably at that time would have been... I was with my first boyfriend after I got... Well, my first long-term boyfriend after I got sober. So I was probably... He and I were together for... So I was probably 26, 27. God, that's crazy. And he's like a year younger than me. So anyway, it's weird to me because like, that seems like such a long, it almost seems like a completely different life to me. It seems like so long ago. You know, like I've talked on here about my ex Todd that I dated. So when I got out of treatment, I've shared this story before, but I'm gonna share it again. So when I got out of treatment, I started dating this guy like right away. And the last night that I used, I met this guy through my friend that I went to elementary, high school, college, graduate. I need to just give her a name, don't I? Anyway, that friend of mine, she was out the night that I was out. And it was at this bar, The Vogue, in Broad Ripple, and they had like a gay night. I think it was like a drag pageant or something. We looked it up one time on here, didn't we? I feel like we looked it up one time. But anyway, and this guy was there, and he was visiting from Champaign, Urbana, Illinois, which is like 2 hours west of Indianapolis. And so he was visiting some friends here. Apparently, I met him that night, and he was real interested in me, which is kind of crazy that he was real interested in me on the last night before the night that before I got sober, because I can't even imagine what kind of mess I was. I mean, I have met moments that I remember from that night. But anyway, so when I was in treatment and I would talk to her, she would always say that he asked like how I was doing. The last guy that I had dated before I went into treatment, which we had broken up before that, he was dating somebody else while I was in treatment. I was constantly on the phone trying to figure out like what's going on with him and who's he dating now and what, you know, I was like, to the point where I was like on the payphone one time and my counselor came along and she just hung it up. She's like, we're done doing this. I was like trying to stay so connected to like the outside world. It just was not healthy. So anyway, when I got out of treatment, so my friend had told me like when I was in treatment, she's like, oh, so-and-so, he keeps on asking about you and hoping that you're okay and whatever. I also knew that he was an attorney. He was like 2 or 3 years older than me. He had his like shit together. He was like a really good guy. He was very good looking. He looked like Ben Affleck. It still looks like Ben Affleck. And so when I got out of treatment, I think he like called me that day. So that friend of mine that I went to elementary, junior high, high school, college, graduate school with, she picked me up from treatment. She was such a great friend to me, like when I got sober and stuff. And I mean, many times in my life, she'd been a really good friend to me. So she picked me up, and I can remember like he called that day or something. I can't remember how it all went down. But anyway, he like called to check on me. I didn't know him. Like, I mean, I like had met him that night. I did not know him. So then he asked if he could like come over and visit. He was like, I'm coming, I can't remember, it was maybe like the next weekend or something. He was like, I'm coming to visit some friends, but I don't really have any place to stay. Can I stay at your house? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, but I'm going to go out. So like on Sunday nights of the Vogue, they had this thing called Boing. And Boing was like this gay guy night where it's like, the Vogue is like, they have bands play there and stuff like that. It's like an old movie theater. It's a really cool venue. They have a lot of bands that play there, but like on Sunday, they had this thing called Retro Rewind on Wednesday nights, which was like a lot of like college people, and they played like all like disco music and stuff. But like on Sundays, they did this thing called Boing, and it was like gay night. And so we would all go to this thing on Sunday nights. So he was coming to visit his friend. It was like a holiday. No, it wouldn't have been a holiday because I didn't get out till after January. I don't know why he was coming. But anyway, he didn't have to work on that Monday or something like that. So he was going to come on like, I can't remember what day he came. Anyway, I mean, God, it's been, what, 31 years ago now, almost. But he was like, can I stay with you? But he was real vague about it. So I was like, is this like a date or whatever? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to go out because I'm not going out to bars right now and stuff like that. He's like, that's totally fine, but can I like go out and then I'll come back and I'll, stay with you and whatever. And I was like, yeah, sure. And so he came. I don't really remember a whole lot about the first time he came. We didn't date. That sounds so bad. I didn't mean it like that. It came to visit. Anyway, that's like belongs on my review channel, not over here. But anyway, I don't, like, we went out to dinner or something maybe. I remember like when he left, I had like a fire made in the fireplace and I was like reading or something and he went out and then he came back. The night ended, like on those Sunday nights, they always ended by like 12:30 or 1 or something. It was like an early night. And so he came back early and I remember we like sat up and talked and made out and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, so are we boyfriends now? He's like, yeah, if you want to be. And so I dated him for like my first 2 months sober, 3 months sober. We had a huge falling out. And the whole time my sponsor's like, it's suggested that we don't date in early recovery because we don't really have anything to give anybody else. Like, when you think about it, like, you just got sober, okay? You're not, like, emotionally mature or developed whatsoever. You don't even have basic living skills. You don't know how to take care of yourself. Why are you getting in a relationship? What do you have to offer somebody in a relationship, right? And not to mention, that first year should really be for yourself, to work on yourself. So, which I 100% agree with. But I did it anyway. And so, my sponsor was like, I don't think this is a good idea, blah, 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 whatever. So he and I break up. I started taking, it was like April, I started taking classes to finish my degree, and I only had like 3 or 4 classes left to finish. I think I had like 3 classes. So I took them like, it was like summer 1, I think I took it. So I might have started like in April or something like that. I can't remember when I took it, but anyway. And I took this film studies class. I found out that it took like, you only had to take like 3 classes to minor in film studies or something like that. So I was like, I'm going to take 3. I took French cinema. I took, which I loved, that French cinema class. Oh my God, to this day, one of my favorite movies is Breathless, which I think in French is Bout de Souffle. I don't know how to speak French. I took French in high school. I took that class. I could probably say enough to get me by in France, but I don't know French. But what's his name? Jean-Luc. What's his name? Have you guys ever seen that movie, Breathless? It's fantastic. It's so good. Is that a Godard? That's not a Godard movie, but anyway. Breathless movie. This guy is so good looking. Hold on a second. Have you guys ever seen this movie? Here it is. What's his name? Oh, it is Jean-Luc Godard. I was right about that. Jean-Paul Belmondo. Have you guys ever seen this guy? Can we just talk about Jean-Paul Belmondo for a second? Oh my God. So anyway, I took this French cinema class. I can't remember the 3rd class I took was. Oh, screenwriting. I took a screenwriting class too. I really, really enjoyed that. I took a short story of mine. We did write a screenplay in there. I took a short story of mine called Lipstick Kids and I turned it into a screenplay in there. That was really fun. I wonder if I have that somewhere downstairs. I know I have the short story, but I don't know if I have the screenplay or not. I don't know where I would have kept that. But anyway, so in my intro to film class, this guy comes in and he sits in front of me. I'll never forget. The first day of class, he had this like green striped, like long sleeve, like kind of rugby polo shirt kind of thing on. He had real curly, dark hair. And he had like these baggier jeans, and he had those, do you guys remember those shoes? The brand was Simple. And he came in, and so I had these glasses. He was so cute. And I just was like, oh my God, who is this guy? You know, like, we don't talk much about this, like, as, you know, people in the LGBT community, but, like, I don't know, maybe, like, more, but I don't think it has changed a whole lot. But, like, you know, we just go by this assumption that, like, everybody's straight, right? So, like, when you're in a classroom and you think somebody's attractive, it's not like you can just hit on them. Like, it's a safety issue to some point, right? Like, because you don't know if they're, like, gay or straight. I would have sworn this guy was straight. Like, I would have absolutely sworn he was straight. So during the class was long. It was like, because it was a summer class, first of all, but it was a film class too. So like every class we would watch a movie. So they were like, the class was like 3 or 4 hours long. It was a really long class. And so we would have breaks and we would go outside, and like, I can remember there was like 4 or 5 of us that would go outside and smoke. And he and I were 2 of them. So like, it was like the second day that we were in that class, we went out for like a break. And, this was Todd. I've talked about Todd on here before. And we were all just kind of standing there talking or whatever. And I can remember it was like on the side of the building. And Kavanaugh Hall at IUPUI. If any of you went to IUPUI Kavanaugh Hall, it was on the side there. Between there and like the lecture hall. It's probably all different down there now. I don't know. I haven't been down there in forever. But anyway. So I feel like it must have been, maybe it was, I didn't take that first semester because I took it off. But I remember it still being kind of cold out a little bit. I feel like the summer 1 section started real early, like in April or something. Maybe? I don't remember, but I remember it kind of being cold when this happened. So anyway, I know people are probably so bored with this story. But everybody else like left. They're like, okay, we got to go back to class. And he was like, I'm going to smoke one more. And I was like, okay, I will too. And so we were sitting there talking. And he started just like asking me all these movies. But every movie that he asked me was like a gay movie. He was like, have you ever seen like Maurice? And I was like, yeah, which is a notoriously bad movie. Okay, but like when I came out, it was like one of the only books and movies that was like a gay themed, you know? And then he was like, have you seen Jeffrey? And I was like, oh yeah, Jeffrey, blah, blah, blah. I think that was out at that time. It was something, like a couple gay movies he was asking me about. And so, like, the third movie he asked me was, like, another gay movie. And I looked at him and I was like, are you asking me if I'm gay? And he kind of, like, he had this cute, oh my God, this cutest smile. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm gay. And he was like, I am too. I don't really even remember. I remember he would come over to my house, to my apartment, and we would just sit up for hours. He introduced me to so much great music. He was actually the person that introduced me to Dave Matthews Band. He was probably one of the biggest Dave Matthews Band fans I'd ever met. And this was in like 1995, which is funny because that summer, this friend of mine that was like a manager of like several music stores here in town would always get like comped tickets. And so he got tickets to go see Dave Matthews, and he was like, do you want to go? And they were like third row tickets. And I was like, yeah, because by this point, Todd and I had broken up. And I was like, yeah, because I was thinking of like, Todd's favorite song was Proudest Monkey by Dave Matthews. And so I was like, yeah, I want to go see. I kind of thought maybe I might run into him or something, which I didn't. But anyway, we went that summer, that friend of mine, we went and saw, it was like the first time I had seen music sober. It was bizarre. We went and saw Fish that summer and Dave Matthews. But anyway, he introduced me to all of this really great music, and he played bass. Todd played bass, and he and his brother were in a band together. And so he would come over to my apartment, and then I can remember we would walk down to like the gas station, and he'd be like, I need smokes. And so he smoked. I always thought this was so funny. Because not a lot of guys smoke 100s, or at that time they didn't. And he smoked like Marlboro Ultralight 100s or something like that. It was so random. But anyway, we would walk down to the gas station, and I'd be like, well, you can drive down there. He's like, no, let's just walk. It's a nice night. So we would walk down there, and we would talk and whatever. And We just like kiss for hours and listen to music. Oh my God. Somebody said something about the Cranberries the other day. They're like good music. I was thinking about that period of music. Like, there was so much really good music during that time. That we just listen to music for hours with candles lit and drink coffee and talk and stuff like that. It kind of became a problem towards the end because he would smoke a lot of pot. I didn't really put two and two together, and then he was pretty honest with me about it, but like it became kind of a problem because he would be like, I'll be over there at 10, but then he would go smoke pot with his friends, and then he wouldn't like show up until like, he didn't drink or anything else. Towards the end of his life, I think that was like a major issue, was like drugs have been a major issue in his life, but at that point, he just smoked weed. He didn't even really drink. I don't think he drank at all. And I'm not minimizing it, but I don't know that I connected it at first. But I can remember a couple times he came over and I could smell it on him, and I was like, I don't like that. And then he'd be like, I'm going to be over there at 10, and he wouldn't show up till like 12:30 or 1. And I'd be like, dude, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I was just like hanging out with friends. I'd be like, are you high right now? So it kind of became an issue. Then he ended up transferring to IU Bloomington. And he was like, he just wanted to be single down there in case he met somebody, which I totally understood. And I was like, I don't want to hold you back. But then through the years, like, we would see each other places. Oh my God, the most random places. I was with my first boyfriend, my long-term boyfriend, and we were at a thrift store. And I ran into him, and it was like, oh my God, it was like all those feelings came rushing back in. And then the next time I saw him, I was single, and he was with somebody else. We went back and forth like that for years. And I've shared this story before, but I was like over at a friend of mine's house. So when I came back in to going to meetings, which I think we're coming up on like 12 years of that or something like that, 13 years. A memory of mine came up on Facebook about that first year of mine back. But anyway, I had this really good friend of mine and that I hung out with. I think she was sober like a year or two at the time that I met her, and we went to a lot of the same meetings. And so on the weekends, like, she had 2 kids. Oh, that's how I was putting it together, because her daughter just left for like doing something with college. And I was like, oh my God, that is so weird that her daughter is in college. Because I was like, at the time that, like, anyway, they were so young, her kids, she had a son and a daughter. And so like every other weekend, her ex-husband had the kids. And so she and I would hang out together on those weekends and stuff like that. And well, like Friday nights, Alex and I would, you know, do date night. Then Saturday night, I would hang out with her. And I can remember sometimes we would go to dinner before, and then we would go to the candlelight meeting, or we would go to a speaker meeting somewhere else. But a lot of times we would end up at her house afterwards, if I didn't go to, like, you know, Steak and Shake or Denny's or something like that. Or if it was like a weekend that she had her kids, I would go to the candlelight. But a lot of the weekends that I was with her, we would go eat. Like, we'd go eat at Chili's, and then we would go, no, we went to a meeting, and then like the 8 o'clock meeting, then after that we would go to Chili's. I remember, this was before I was a vegetarian, because I'd always get the California Club from Chili's, and we would have so much fun. And I don't know why I'm having this memory, but we were sitting in the bar one time. So, like, one of the things that people ask you, especially in early recovery, is like, are you spiritually fit to sit in a bar? Like, not like a host would ask you that, but like another person in recovery. And I can remember, like, we joked about it because this one friend of ours really wanted to get a tenderloin this one time at this place called Sid's. Sid's is this restaurant in Noblesville. It's like this corner bar, and it's real famous. And it's like my sponsor, like, has had his last drink. He was sober for like 40 some years. My sponsor that passed away. Sponsor that I had, well, now I think I've had my sponsor now longer than I had him, but anyway, but he had his last drink at Sid's. So, like, Sid's is kind of like this known place in recovery on the north side, but they are also known for having like the best tenderloin. And so this friend of mine one time asked me, she was like, do you want to go have a tenderloin? I'm not a big tenderloin person. Well, I'm definitely not now as a vegetarian, but my mom loved tenderloins. And so she was like, are you spiritually fit to go to Sid's? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I can go to Sid's. But anyway, so I remember this time my friend and I we would usually not sit in the bar. We would usually sit in the restaurant. I'm not a big, like, I don't like to sit in bars unless I have to anyway. At restaurants, I like to sit at a table, you know? I mean, I know that there's bars or tables in bars, but they're usually high tops, and I don't love that. So, it has nothing to do with the bar. I have no problem sitting in a bar. I just don't like the tables in a bar. It's louder and stuff like that. So if I had the option, I would rather sit at a table, you know, or a booth is my absolute favorite. They are snoozed out over there. So anyway, I remember, like, the host asked us something about, like, do you mind sitting in the bar? And she said to me, this friend of mine was really funny. And she was like, as her kids got older, we just kind of like stopped seeing each other because she got real involved with having to do school stuff and sports and all that kind of stuff. I still love her to this day, but so she looked at me and said something about, because it was like this joke about SIDS and the Tenderloin, and she said, do you think you're spiritually fit? And we just started laughing. I don't know. But then the server came over and was like, asking us like all these drinks, like if she's like, hey, and it's 2 for $1, and we got these and blah, 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 whatever. My friend was like, said something like, no, we don't drink. And she's like, come on, it's a Saturday night, have fun. And my friend said, we're having lots of fun. We just came from like a 12-step meeting. The woman was just like, she didn't know what to say after that. What do you think about that, huh, bud? He says, Daddy, who are you talking to? People think you've gotten real big. I think you have too. You're going to lay down right there, aren't you? I can tell. There you go, buddy. Yes. You want a tummy rub? You're such a good boy. So anyway, how did that go into all of that? Oh, but one night, one of the things she and I would do is, like, we would, after a meeting, sometimes if we didn't want to go out to eat, we would go back to her apartment, her house. She had such a cute house. She ended up selling that house, and now she lives in a better house. Well, not a better house, but, like, that house was cute. It was, like, she had, like, fixed it up and all this kind of stuff. It really reminded me of, like, when Melody Beatty bought this house with her ex-husband, and, like, in the book, I think it's 40 Days and 40 Nights, Melody Beatty talks about, like, paying gratitude forward, and the house was just, like, such a mess. And she would, like, sit there and, look at his little pawpaw. She would sit there, like, on the floor in the dining room, and she would just say, I love this house is gorgeous, and stuff like that. And then she would, like, find couches and alleys, and she would, like, drag them down the street, and she would, like, because she was so poor, Melody Beatty at the time, she couldn't afford, you know, anything. And she would find, like, different kinds of wallpaper samples, and she would paint the walls with, like, whatever color she could afford and whatever. And then years later, Oprah came out to do an interview at her house in Malibu. And, like, Oprah said something to her daughter, and her daughter said, to this day, like, that first house is still my favorite house. My friend's house today, like, is a gorgeous house. But, like, that house that she and I spent all that time, I mean, she did so much work. She raised her 2 kids in that house, you know, as a single mom. It was, I don't know. I can see the backyard. She had a real small little wood patio that we would sit out there and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes on and talk. And she would always play the station that played the Smiths. It played a lot of music, but it would play the Smiths. By the way, happy birthday, Christy. Hey, Christy, happy birthday. And every time I would be over there, the song Well I Wonder by the Smiths came on, which is one of my favorite Smiths songs. But we would sit in her kitchen. We would get, like, Jack in the Box sometimes, and we would sit in the kitchen. We would just talk for hours. So one night, we were on the couch. And I can remember at that time, it was funny because she had, like, in her living room, the house was real small, but it was so cute. And she, like, everything that she had decorated, she'd be like, oh, I found that at a thrift store. I found that at a secondhand store, and then I fixed it up. She was really, like, good with, like, reupholstery and stuff. The house was just really adorable. But she had books, like, everywhere, and that was what I loved. And she was reading the Harry Potter books with her kids. And so, like, she had this chair and ottoman that she would read in at night, and, like, she would have the Harry Potter book, but then she would have, like, a daily meditation book and then, like, her 12-step text on it. And I was like, I said to her one night, I said, that's, like, an interesting choice. And she's like, yeah, I read, like, my daily text, I read the daily affirmation, and then I read the Harry Potter book. And I said, oh, because I knew that she was reading it with her kids. And she said, she goes, have you ever read them? And I hadn't read the Harry Potter books at that point. And I was like, no. And she's like, they're so good. She's like, when they go to bed, I read like 3 chapters ahead. And she's like, because they're so good. I just am reading it to myself. She was real into them. She said the Harry Potter books helped her get through her first year of sobriety. It's crazy when you think about things like that like really helped you, like with early sobriety, you know? And I remember her saying that. She's like, those Harry Potter books, Michael Crichton books got me through treatment, you know? Like, I think I read every Michael Crichton book that had come out at that time. Jurassic Park, Sphere. Sphere was my favorite. They turned it into a movie with Sharon Stone that was horrible, but I loved the book so much. I think I read Disclosure when I was in there. They made that into a movie with Demi Moore. Where are you going, bud? He's like, are you licking that? Are you trying to see what's going on with that? Hey, bud. Come up here. You want to explore? Oh, now this one's up. Are you stretching? You guys get Nancy. Where are we at on time? Where's your brother going? Did he go down the ramp? Oh, so Otis goes over here because we keep the bed with all the toys in it over on that side. So he goes over there, but all the toys are on the bed. He just looked over there. We also keep a basket right next to the bed. So he's going over there in the corner to see, because that's where we keep the bed with all the toys. But all the toys are up here. Yeah. So anyway, one night I was over at my friend's house, and we were on the couch. She had this guy, her and this guy in meetings. I did not know this forever. This kind of is a funny story. Anyway, when I see her to this day, I still say to her dirty words with friends. Well, hi, honey. You want to come up here? Come on. Okay, so, who is this? You want to come back up here, sweetie? Oh, you're coming up here, okay. Come on, big boy. Yeah, there you go. You get in your bed? I mean, isn't he so sweet? Now, Pee-Pee was Tucker and Boo's big brother. And Tucker was really, even though they were litter mates, Tucker was really Boo Radley's big brother because he treated him like one. Although in the end, it was really kind of like Boo Radley that took care of Tucker. So yesterday, I showed them pictures of Boo all the time. So I was talking to them about Boo. I don't know, this made me real happy. And I was like, now Boo Radley is your big brother, and he's looking down on you, and he's taking care of you. So now, because I like the idea that Boo Radley gets to be a big brother of these little guys, and he looks over them and stuff like that. Yeah. Look at Walter, he is sleepy. So is Otis. Otis is out. But anyway, so we were over at her house one night. I can see us. We were sitting on the couch, and she had like candles lit, and the lights were off, and we were listening to probably the Smiths or something. And there was this guy in meetings that she liked, and she had a crush on. But like, I think she was maybe at that time, she was over a year sober. He had several years sober. And she's like, I just don't know that I want to get in a relationship or not. And she would go back and forth. He would like ask her out on a date, and she'd be like, ask me next month. But they would play words with friends with each other. But they played dirty words with friends. I'm like, what? When she told me, I was like, what is dirty words with friends? And she's like, we play words with friends with each other, like, but we flirt. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. It was dirty words, like dirty words, like the P word and things. Like the Poussows. I was like, oh my God, I cannot. I almost said her name. I was like, do you really? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, that's like, if I see him in a meeting, I'll be like, I'll catch you on Words with Friends later. I'm like, you won't let him take you on a date? But you go to like, you play dirty words with friends. She thought it was hilarious. But anyway, so one night we were talking about like dating and different people we had dated and stuff like that. And I was telling her about Todd. And he and I were friends on Facebook. And so I was like, but I hadn't like looked into him for years. And so I was like, well, I was telling her the story of Todd and whatever, and like meeting him, and like it always felt like we should be together. Like we would meet at the most random times, or like he would call me out of the blue and I would be like with somebody, and his ex had passed away. I didn't really know all the conditions of that and stuff like that. So a lot of like sad stuff had happened in his life. He would reach out to me, but like I'd be dating somebody or pretty serious and whatever. And so it was like the timing was always off for us. It seemed like the timing was always off. When we broke up, so he and his brother were in this band here in Indianapolis, and he played bass for the band. And he wrote me a song called St. Peter. Not like the camera stopped. We made it to a half an hour without it falling over. And as I reached to like, because when it stops, I have to like hit the record button. As I reached, I almost tipped the camera over again. But anyway, this is Walter's favorite way to sleep, on his back. Oh my God, look, he has this, can you get, I don't, if you can see this, but in his mouth, he has the toy as he's sleeping. That is so hilarious. Okay. But anyway, the song, I have it in the basement. I actually haven't read the lyrics in years and years and years, but they're not like, oh, I'm a saint, and it was nothing like that. It was very much kind of like an ironic play on words, but after that was like, he wanted me to come to hear him and whatever, and then like that was when we broke up after that. So anyway, I was telling her the whole story about all that, but, and we parted amicably too. Like most of my exes, well, before I got sober, oh no, it was some ugly breakups. It was, get out of my house, kind of, I mean, it was ugly breakups, but after I got sober, it wasn't like that. I mean, I think the first one, I knew it was done. The second one, neither one of us worked to make it. We didn't put in the effort at all. And then Alex and I have been together 17 years, going on our 18th year, so. And hopefully we'll be together for the rest of our lives, but you know, you never know what's going to happen. But I hope so. I hope so, you know what I mean? Anyway, so, but yeah, like, so with Todd, we broke up amicably. And the reason why I say Todd's name in videos is because out of respect for him and honor, because he's passed away. And his family won't mention his name. They didn't give him an obituary. And so I feel like the one thing that I can do for Todd is to honor his name and his story. The reason why I don't mention a lot of people's names, like my other exes and stuff like that, which people could probably figure out if they wanted to, is just out of like respect for them and their anonymity and their privacy and stuff like that. I don't really have anything bad to say about my two exes from before. I mean, they're both great guys. My first ex lives in South Florida, and he's actually... his boyfriend, they've been together now for about 10 years, is from Venezuela. How strange is that? And my ex and Alex used to work together at this bar in Indianapolis because my ex is a DJ. And Alex worked there as a dancer. And so they both worked at the same, like, this gay bar back then. It was like the first year that it opened. So they were like, they were friends. And so like when Alex and I started dating, he was like, one night he said something about my exes. He didn't know my previous ex, but like when I mentioned his name, he was like, you dated him? I was like, yeah, like my first year sober. Like it had been like so long at that point, but I moved up on the bed and knocked it back again. And then look, I woke them all up and everything trying to adjust this camera. Are we up? He said, Dad, this filming business is, I don't know about it. You want to lay right down next to me? Why don't you just lay right down next to me? We can have a little nap right here if you want. So anyway, I keep on wanting to say her name, my friend. I should reach out to her today. I miss her. We need to get together and do a dinner or something. So we were sitting there talking on the couch, and like I hadn't looked him up on Facebook in a while. I know some people are like, Peter, we've heard this story 15 times. Well, I'm telling it again. So I was telling her the story of Todd and like dating and back and forth and how like we were always supposed to like, it seemed like we were always supposed to end up together and we just never did, and it just was bad timing. So I was showing her these pictures of him, and I went on his Facebook, and it was all these people that were like, and it was from like 2 years before that, and it was like all these people were like, I miss you, I can't believe you're gone. And I was like, what? Like I was sitting on his couch and I was like, and it had been like 2 years. I was like, did he die? And like, I'm reading through it and I was trying to like, and I piece it together. There's like no obituary post. There's nothing. It's just like all these friends like that are like, I can't believe you're gone. And like, nothing's the same without you. And so this one girl that was on there that I posted like several things. I remembered that she was like his best friend at the time that we dated. And so I reached out to her and I sent her this message and I was like, hey, like, I don't know if you remember me, but like Todd and I dated and whatever. And she sent me this really, really nice message back. And she was like, so his parents were not okay with him being gay. Like he would tell me never to like call his house and stuff like that because he lived with his parents, and they never acknowledged that he was gay. They never acknowledged his husband that passed. And he ended up living with them towards the end. I think when he passed away, he was living with his parents. He lived in California for a long time. He lived in San Francisco, and then he moved back here. He actually developed video games. That's so crazy. Like, he was, like, really well known in the industry for, like, developing video games. And he lived in San Francisco. He has his master's degree in something to do with computer something. But anyway, so towards the end, he moved back here. And I remember she said to me that they didn't like give him an obituary and there was like really no service or anything like that. I just was like, God, like that's so sad. So I tell the story whenever I can, but what's interesting about that is like I came home that night and I told Alex, and I said something to Alex about like this guy that, the way I said it was before I even got to the story that he had passed away, was like this guy that I was like, that I always thought I was supposed to be with my whole life. And he goes, well, you still can be if you want to. And I go, well, no, I can't because he's dead. Alex was like, I'm so sorry. Are you chewing on Michael Myers back there? My dad used to love that song. All my exes live in Texas. You know, I had great times with all of my, like, Todd, like, we had a lot of fun, but that was short-lived. My first boyfriend, he and I traveled a lot with my dad and my stepmom. And then, but that was like early years of recovery. Like I kind of almost consider him like my fun boyfriend. Like we traveled a lot. We had a lot of fun together. My ex, before Alex, like we were super serious. I mean, we had a lot of fun together and stuff like that too. You know, it's like where people say they learn from each relationship. I definitely learned from each relationship. But in retrospect, like, I feel like I said in retrospect like 8 times during this video. But in retrospect, like my first boyfriend, I was 23 to 28. You know, my second relationship, I was 29 to 35. Now I'm 53. I mean, who I was with them, I'm not the same person today. My interests, my desires, the way I act in the world are completely different. I'm not that person today, you know? Let him sleep, Walter. He doesn't want to play right now, buddy. So yeah, I learned from those things, but I think, you know, the way that we act in a relationship in our 20s is a lot different. I mean, like, I know a lot of people that have been in relationships. Do you know, I was saying this to our therapist the other day, that did you know that one of the statistics for, the battery just went to the halfway mark. One of the statistics for the longest, like, successful relationships is high school sweethearts. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I read that a couple years ago. But, you know, I know people that have been together, like, 20 and 30, well, longer than that. Like, our friend, you know, like, our family friend that Caroline and I see, they're in their 80s, and I think they got married in their 20s, so they've been together, like, 60 years. And I remember asking her one day, it was, like, her birthday, her husband, I've talked about this before, and I said, like, do you ever get bored? And she goes, no. She goes, because we change all the time, and then we get to know that person all over again that you're with, your partner. And I think that's so true, you know? It's like, your wants, your desires. Like when Alex and I were like coming back from from therapy the other night, he was like playing some music and I was like asking him about who this was and whatever this music, and like even our music interests change a lot. I was playing him Avett Brothers the other night and he's like, I really like this. And you know, it's like all of our interests change, not just like with music, but like I think we grow and change over time, and not just with our romantic partners, but with our friends and our, you know, ideologies and stuff like that. It's kind of sad. Like, I've known some people in my life that I feel like have kind of stayed stuck, and they aren't willing to let life experiences of themselves or others kind of like impact their life, their worldview on people or on things, you know? I don't know. I'm grateful for all the people that I dated. I had great times with all of them, you know? I mean, one guy that I did... What are you doing over there? Are you looking for your can of soup? It's right here, buddy. One guy that I dated... The guy that I dated before I got sober was, like, who introduced me to, like, cocaine and stuff like that. I think he's kind of turned him... I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with him today. I don't know anything much about him, but... Our mutual friend passed away several years ago. He and his partner both died... during COVID. It was really, really sad. And I saw him like write something on Facebook about that. I was like, God, I can't believe he's still around. He lives in South Florida too. I think that relationship was two really messy, disruptive people that got together and just tried to like ruin each other's lives, honestly. I mean, like, I don't know. But you know, it's weird when you look back in your life and you think about like different periods of your life, like who you hung out with the most and who you were friends with the most at that time and stuff like that. And like, you know, some people you don't even talk to anymore, and it's not because like you had a falling out or anything happened. It's just like life went its separate ways. You know, and I think like we think that they love, by the way, I have to show you this. If he stops playing with it, I'll show you. At PetSmart, at the counter, for like $2, they have these cheap-ass Christmas toys. Oh, he's sleeping on it right now. Can I show him real quick? They love these. They're like $2. They have a reindeer. They have a Santa Claus. They love them. And they're literally like, you can tell it's like paper inside of it. The reindeer has these like ears. I don't even know what they're made out of. It's like cardboard or something like that. And they just chew on them for hours. It's so funny. You like that, don't you? He likes the ball on Santa's hat. He just chews them. Can you see him? You know, Tucker and Pee-Pee played with toys, but Boo Radley never really played with toys. So it's kind of fun to have a dog or have dogs that play with toys. They both do. Both Otis and Walter love to play with toys. Good boys, aren't you? You got your can of soup right here. This is a can of soup. What kind of can of soup is this, Walter, do you even think? Beggar's Choice. Oh, this is perfect for you. Thanksgiving table soup. You want that? Look at his little faces. I used to say that with Boo Radley. Why did I go down this road of talking about all my exes today? All my exes live in Texas. I wouldn't I don't know that I would do anything differently. I don't think like any of my relationships I wouldn't have, you know? I try to look at relationships when they end now. Like, I really got this with my second, my ex. Like, well, in the middle of the relationship, I got that because he and his ex before me, like, they had been together for a long time, like, since high school. And so he would, like, hide pictures and stuff of him. Like, he had a box of pictures. I was like, and so one day he came home and I, like, brought the pictures. I think I had him on the bed or something like that. And he was, like, real nervous. And I was like, I don't want framed pictures of your ex around the house, but I don't want you to feel like you have to hide a part of your life either. Or like he was a part of your life, you know? And I think that kind of changed my perspective on everything. It's like, I mean, definitely if the relationship was abusive or something like that, I would feel completely different about my history of my relationship. So I'm not talking about those kind of relationships. My relationships weren't. I mean, the last guy, I have had relationships. I'm talking about my last 3 relationships. Well, Alex and my previous 2 exes. Obviously, none of those. But I did date guys that mistreated me and were abusive. But I don't know that I would even consider those relationships. We dated for a while. I don't know that I would call them relationships. I don't know that I even want to give it that much importance, you know? But as far as the long-term relationships, I probably would feel differently if they had ended, like, on those kind of notes. I really try to look at them, like, because, you know, I have a lot of friends of mine that are like, none of it was true, none of it was real. I don't believe that. Just because it doesn't end the way that you want it to, you know, like, I believe that with both of my exes, that a lot of it was good. And I mean, my first ex, my God, I mean, we broke up when I was 27. I mean, it's like almost half, like, my life away. I mean, it was so long ago, you know. I remember glimpses here and there, but I think, like, even with friendships that, you know, fall apart or whatever, it's like, try to remember the good times. Don't get hung up on the bad times, you know. I'm not big on bad talking exes or past friends. I just don't love when people do that. It's like, I know people that just will jump at the opportunity to just, like, badmouth somebody. And I'm not, like I said again, I'm not talking about, like, severe, toxic, abusive people. I'm talking about just because they don't like them anymore. It's like they jump at the chance to badmouth them. And I'm like, I don't know, would you want somebody to do that to you? I don't know. I think about that a lot. Because I think that speaks volumes more about the person speaking it than it does about the behavior that happened. So I don't really try to engage in that. I just try to look at the good times and be like, yeah, we had some really good times together and it was a part of my life. I don't know. Anyway, I have a feeling we have about 5 more minutes here with Walter, and the battery's at the halfway mark anyway, so I'm going to tell you what I did last night. So I walked, but I got about 20 minutes into my walk, and then it really started raining. Nikki actually, she was watching my vlog last night. She texted me, and she's like, so did you use your walking pad tonight? I said, no, I went for a walk, and then it started raining. I actually, on my walk, was like, maybe I should go back and use my walking pad. But by the time I got home, I was like, I didn't want to. So I ended up walking, I think it was about 37 minutes exactly that I walked. So it was a short walk for me last night, because it started like raining again really hard. I was like, where is he at? And he's back over there. And then, Alex was at his Christmas party, his, holiday, party 1. No spouses. They showed, like, he posted this picture of, like, everybody there. Anyway, he had a good time. Then afterwards, they went to 1933 and had a glass of wine, and then he came home. He wasn't home, like, late at all. I was kind of surprised. I thought he might be out a little bit later, but they were only there for, like, an hour, and then he came home. When he came home, I was watching... I'd, like, made my, like, sandwich and my hummus sandwich. I need to find something else, because I'm getting a little bored of the hummus sandwich and the orzo Mediterranean salad. I need to find... I mean, I like it, but I need to find something else, too. When he came home, what was I watching when he came home? Because we talked for a little bit, and he was telling me about the party, and then he was like, I'm going to go upstairs and, like, lay in bed and look at TikToks. And I said, I'm going to go upstairs in a second and take a nap anyway. And so, I can't remember what I was watching. Oh, I was finishing up Survivor. So I got Survivor watch last night. I'm really sad about who got kicked off this week. I really liked this person. I was wanting them to win the whole thing, but it's whatever. I just thought he was a really nice guy. Anyway, watched Survivor, and then last night when I got up, I started watching that I had seen a lot of people talk online about that Carmen family deaths, Nathan Carmen, and that supposedly killed his mom. So I watched a documentary last night. It's just a really sad documentary. I talked about it on here the other day, that I wasn't sure I wanted to watch it because of kind of how they discussed autism. When I looked, I literally watched, like, I thought I'd watch more than that. I watched, like, the first 10 minutes of it. So I was like, okay, enough people are talking about it online. I'll give it a shot. Everybody was just saying it's just a really sad documentary. It is just a really sad documentary. I did a 25 minute reaction to it today, so I'm not going to talk a lot about it. When I got done with that, I watched The Fall. I am so into The Fall. I mean, it's kind of a slow burn show, I will say that. I think the second season is better than the third. I think I have half of the 5th episode. I watched something else, too. What else did I watch? Oh, I read for a long time last night. Yeah, I read for a long time last night, but what else did I watch? I watched something else. Well, forever I was looking for another movie to watch, to react to today, but I didn't watch a movie, so there will be no movie reaction today. But I watched The Fall. The episodes of The Fall are like an hour long. I can't remember how many episodes I watched, but anyway, I think I'm like almost at the end of episode 5, and then I have episode 6, and then there's season 3. I really want to finish that because I made a list of all of my shows. So you got to tell me if there's something I need to add to this, okay? But I made a list of shows to watch next, which I already have shows to binge in 2025, of which there's like 50 or 60 shows on there, probably more than that. But I have a list of shows to watch next. Invasion on Apple, Only Murders in the Building, Malice, Pluribus, The Last Frontier, Down Cemetery Road, the John Wayne Gacy one on Peacock. The trailer for that looks actually really good. Murdaugh, Murders, I haven't watched that. Slow Horses, Yellow Jackets, and The Crystal Cuckoo. Those are the ones that are like on my list to watch next, not counting like the British TV shows, of which I added 2 more BritBox shows last. So anyway, last night when I was going to bed, I was like, I'm not going to go to bed too late. Like, I didn't know what Alex was doing today, so I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to film a bunch. I had a whole list of videos that I was going to film for today. And then when I got up, I was kind of like, you know what? I think I'm just going to relax today, and tomorrow I'll go to brunch tomorrow, film my vlog, whatever. I knew, because when he said something about going to brunch today, I was like, I'm going to film this. I wanted to do this review of the TV show, but I didn't care if I did anything other than that. So I've already got my list. I like literally went in here last night, and I made my list for all of my videos for this week. So I went in here and I did videos this week, 11/24. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drama videos, 1, 2, I have all my videos planned for my movie channel for next week. Oh, the Carmen Family Murders I can take off of here for my TV channel. I have Sister Wives on Monday. I'm going to try to, this is my plan. I'm going to try to do 1,000 Pound Roomies and finish that up for Tuesday. Plathville on Wednesday. And then I have some other things planned for the rest of the week. My Peter Does Stuff channel, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos, reviews. I have 4 videos, Peterisms. And then my BookTube channel, I have a video for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday or Friday, Friday or Saturday, and possibly Sunday. So I have videos like literally for every day next week. Oh, the battery is dying. So tonight, it's flashing at me right now. So tonight, I'm just gonna hang out with the boys. I'm gonna read my Kindle. I'm gonna go on a long walk. As soon as this gets rendered and Alex comes home, I'm gonna go on a long walk during the day when it's light outside. And yeah, just relax and watch TV shows and read tonight. I'm really excited about a really nice, relaxing evening. So let me know what you're doing in the comment section below. Hope you guys are having a magically amazing Saturday. Who is calling me? If nobody else has told you this today, I love you guys. And of course, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.